This is the squeakiest show I've ever
Let's swap
experienced.
it. Do you want to swap it
I think
out?
they're all squeaky.
It's like working.
It's fine. Squeaky's fine. Okay, we'll just do this. Okay, ready? Okay. Ready? Right. Hello and welcome back to Stage Time, the podcast that takes you backstage before the artist goes on stage.
Wow, I love
you very
that intro.
Thank you so much. We are back in London at St Pancras Clock Tower ahead of another Live from the Clock Tower. The last episode you may have seen was in Berlin, and now it's in London.
Wow.
Mr. Worldwide. This is Ben's first podcast.
First time speaking.
It's first time speaking.
First time at the house.
Today I have two, what's the word to use? I don't know. Fantastic.
People.
Magnificent.
I have two people who can sing.
Yeah.
Hannah Grace and Benedict Cork. Hello, welcome. Welcome to Stage Time.
Guys.
I feel like this is a long time coming.
Yeah.
Getting us all together for a sing-song once more. Basic premise of this podcast is experiences live, performing live. Who wants to go first? Tell me how you got started.
Hannah
Oh
Grace.
my
Let's go.
goodness, that is
Take us
the
back.
biggest question
What was
of
your
my
first
whole
gig
life.
ever?
Yeah. Straight out the womb.
Are we going like professional gig? Are we going like when we were a kid? I need some context.
Were you not always a professional? So
I've been
Ben.
professional my entire life.
Okay.
No,
So
like,
Ben.
Yeah. Do you mean like singing publicly?
Okay.
This is too much for me.
Is this your first podcast? You have a podcast.
I know.
We did it.
This
Okay.
is too general. I need to.
I'm
gonna
give
give mine.
Okay,
mine.
go. You go, and then I'll be inspired.
Okay.
I remember my first one because I got a negative review in the local paper.
No.
And I've never got over it. There was an acoustic night at our local pub called the Half Moon.
Where's this?
Bishop Stortford, Hertfordshire. And everyone used to go through and sing their songs and everything, and I didn't have any songs, so I did a set of all covers. And the review was, great voice, needs his own songs.
Oh.
Wow.
5 words. 6 words.
Could have been a
Wow.
positive thing, being like, he needs to say what's in his heart.
Yeah.
Maybe. I took it as a bad thing.
Yeah, it was
That
definitely a
says
bad
lot
one. I was
about
just
me.
trying to
But you have written some songs since, so maybe that was the turning point.
That was the catalyst.
Yeah.
That made me write songs.
Because you were going to be an
Yeah.
accountant, weren't you?
I
Before that was the turning point.
Yeah.
Okay, so now
Wow.
taking an example from Ben there. See
That
how
is an
he
example.
formed
Yeah,
that
that was
answer
excellent. That
beautifully.
was really well told.
What was your first kind of live experience? Was it
I'm
positive?
going to go wholesome.
Okay.
I'm going to go wholesome. Okay, I'm going to try and keep it short and sweet. So I always used to sing at home with my dad. My dad plays piano and guitar and writes songs.
Okay.
So he used to play for me. But I was really, really shy. I still kind of am. But in primary school, no one knew I sang ever. Never sang in anything. Would kind of try, but I'd be so quiet. They'd be like scared to make me in front of people. But then my dad would see this other side of me at home singing and family things at home all the time. And then my last day of year 6,
Year 6, what a time.
I know what a time
What
to
a
be
time,
alive, yeah. Last day of year 6, just before summer holidays, my dad, as a surprise to me, not the school, but to me, came into the Leavers Assembly at 3 p.m, made me sing in front of everyone.
No!
Yes.
Wow.
So I sang in front of my whole class, who basically hated me. I had a horrible time in primary school.
What did you sing?
I sang, so oh my God, you're going to cry. My dad had brought 3 print-out lyrics of 3 of the songs we used to sing at home and got me to choose. I know. And he was like, and you know, like the kind of upright pianos you had in school, I was like stood next to it holding the zip of my summer dress.
Wow.
And he was just playing the piano and he's like, which one do you want to do? So I picked Wade in the Water. Used to listen to Eva Cassidy's version of that, like just Eva Cassidy my whole life.
Yeah.
And then this is the thing, this is where I first got scouted, guys. So like in the Leavers Assembly, there were the parents and things. And one of the parents was a music teacher at the secondary school I was going to the following September. So from September onwards, I was the singer girl. For the whole secondary school.
So it really
So
teed
you
you up.
can really pinpoint it back to that moment. And then that was it. So yeah.
Wow.
Classic you. Oh, I don't know about my first. And then just like whaps out this
Wade
the best.
in the water.
Like, yeah.
With my dad in assembly. Everybody cried.
Also, did he organise it? Did he rock up? He was just like,
He told
sorry,
the head
kids,
mistress.
no, enough of you.
So he always used to joke about it with me as a kid. Like one day all those kids are going to hear you and all those teachers are going to know that you can sing. And I just never ever thought he would or didn't think it would be a thing that you could do. But he told the head mistress at the time and she was doing her whole Leavers Assembly speech and said, we have one surprise for you. And then my dad walked in and it was really funny. We were all cross-legged in rows, in primary school. And my brother's 2 years younger than me, so he was in year 4. And like we literally darted eyes across the room. Me and my brother, we were like, it's Dad, what is he doing here? Because, and yeah, it was amazing. My dad actually sang a song first to the whole school.
So your dad's a bit of a legend.
He's a bit of a legend, yeah. And
Is your dad Tom Jones?
Yes. And then he got me up for one. And then all my class were like chanting my name and stuff. It was like from a movie.
Oh my God.
I know. It was so cool.
Did that fill you with loads of like confidence?
Yeah, it did. Even though, you know, like it was mixture. Like I think some of the people in school were kind of like, oh, well, you can sing now and da da da. But you're always
That's jealousy.
Oh, well, yeah. So then, September, music teacher was like, I remember you. You're in the choir, you're in the shows, you're doing the solos.
What a start.
I know.
That's
it was
great.
a pretty good
It
start.
was just downhill from there, really.
It was downhill.
Right.
Yeah.
Life peaked.
Talking about peaking, I was thinking, just what, obviously, I think we've all been around a similar time, I think, in the industry, in the world of music. Do you think you've had, well, you must have, what's been a moment you've had playing live where you thought, pretty much, I've made it here. I've arrived at a place that I'm pretty proud of. The thing is, I can think of some for both of you.
For
but
you.
Yeah.
I can't think of. I'm going blank on.
Okay, can we stop the humble thing? Look, you're both amazing.
I'm just great every day, so it's really hard to pinpoint it. No, do you know what? I think first ever headline show. Because like obviously being a support act is really fun, and it's really I find it really fun, like trying to win over an audience that doesn't know you. But the first time people have come to listen to you and they know your lyrics and they're singing along, that's a proper moment. I remember it was at same place you did yours, St Pancras Old Church, maybe like 4 or 5 years ago.
Nice.
And it's the first time I've ever done like a headline show, and there were people there who I didn't know who were like singing the songs. I was like, I made it.
Wow.
And then it was all downhill.
Also, the backstage there's super weird because it's
literally
the vestry or whatever, and there's like holy water. And
you also played the Royal Albert Hall, so
I did.
That's
that was cool. But that made me more hungry, because then I was like, because I was a sport actor and I was like, I want to do this for myself.
I think there's a story in there about when people talk about enjoying and making the most of the journey rather than the destination. Because arguably, for a lot of people, Royal Albert Hall is a pinnacle kind of like wow moment. But your first headline show is such a big deal, and you've arrived there by yourself. You know, you've set this thing up. It's your songs. You're not doing covers anymore in a pub wherever you were. It's quite a
Yeah, he finally wrote some songs.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Just to prove my local newspaper
That was all
wrong.
the review was. He finally wrote some songs.
Was he there?
Hey, you never know.
He could have been. He could have been.
Tonight's the night. I want to introduce. No, it's in Barry or something.
James, actually. James. Shout out, James.
Wow.
How about you?
What's yours?
Yeah, I think headline shows are special. I feel like my first one was interesting, was also St. Pancras Church, but I didn't really feel like the music I was doing at the time was like very authentically me. So I felt that whole period was a weird time for me.
That was your gangster rap phase, wasn't it?
Yeah. Whereas and then after lockdown, I really didn't think I'd be able to do music anymore or play shows. You know, it felt really impossible to play shows. And then the show I did in Oslo, in London, so not in Oslo, but the venue Oslo, was the first time really that I've ever experienced people like singing along, and like it was like sold out and there was actually people. And you know, in soundcheck I was like, no one's gonna come, you know, like genuinely like, what if no one comes? And there were people like in the whole front row like singing songs. I literally felt like Taylor Swift. I was like, this is crazy. And I didn't recognize any of them. I am. And yeah, even like all my friends on stage with me and like my family after, I think we were all a bit like, what just happened? Like that's crazy, you know?
It's a nice shift.
It felt like a real big shift. And also all the songs I was singing were like things that felt like me at the time. So it all kind of was a full circle moment that felt right. So it's exciting to be planning more.
Amazing.
So yeah, that's probably.
And do you think how did you both cut your teeth in terms of like honing in your live performance? Because what I love about, I think the three of us, so for context for anyone listening, watching, whatever, everyone here is an artist in their own right, songwriter and whatever else, but we got together just to sing harmony and have fun with it, just because we got a bit tired of just the constant rat race of trying to make music work all the time. So we started a thing where we just meet up and sing in harmony for fun.
The Sexy Singers?
The Sexy Singers is our WhatsApp group name. It's the only name we have. It's our actual name. And so we did it just for fun, and then turned that into a bit of a hustle as well, because seemingly people enjoyed it. We're a glutton for punishment.
Doesn't feel like a hustle, though.
It doesn't feel like a hustle. It's just fun.
It feels wholesome and nice.
But I think we've also been on the same bill a few times at each of the shows and different shows. And I think we're each unique in our own way in our performance style. I'd say our pat is different. So how did you kind of hone yours in? Has there been some massive failures and some awkward moments where you've gone, oh, I shouldn't have done that?
I think everything that could go wrong in a gig has gone wrong in my life. You know, when I was in music college, I used to do so many functions, just cover gigs. In Cardiff.
In Cardiff, okay.
And I had a residency in this like restaurant, every Friday and Saturday where I'd sing covers for 3 hours.
Wow.
And so like
You
any
should do original
fear,
songs. I've heard
I know, I
really
should do
good.
that.
Yeah.
And that was how I like got by as a student. And I think all my fear of being in front of people just vanished. And I'd just be like playing with musicians. And so now like forgetting words, falling over, like, I don't know, anything that you can think of has happened to me before. I've sung gigs with basically no voice. I've sung gigs when I just feel really sick or like nervous and nerves take over me. Like every single thing that could happen has happened. And so I don't think,
still here,
and I'm
fine.
still here and I'm still doing it and it's still fun. And so I think that's really helpful because if I'm nervous, I'm like, but why am I nervous? Like, I think that can only be like if I'm not prepared. I think I get excited and like a good amount of nerves is good.
Nerves is good. I think nerves is.
So I think it's just doing it literally thousands of times. I wish some people like count how many gigs they've done. I wish I'd done that.
I wish I'd done that.
Probably do a like
track them
retrospective
back. Yeah.
Count them
Yeah,
back.
I mean, even I did that residency for like 3 years.
Yeah.
So that in itself is loads.
Yeah.
But
I also
yeah,
think with lockdown, so many people kind of blew up on TikTok and this and the other from just playing in their bedroom. And I think there's a, I didn't have a fear for these people, but it's just like, what are you going to do when you transition into like when things open up
real
again?
people. Yeah.
And you're going to be in front of people, and it's a whole different ball game. I know a lot of amazing recording artists who can't play live, for example. It's a whole different. They just can't be in front
Different
of people.
skill. And the other way around, you know, too. I think it's very
performers who
different.
can't.
And you can only practice like the bits in between songs when you're actually doing a gig. You can't like
you can't
rehearse that home, or you can tell when they have been rehearsed.
When they stand on the monitor and they're like, "How are we doing tonight?"
Yeah,
and there's like two
How
people
are
in the
we
crowd.
doing
Like,
tonight.
Sometimes I try. Like if people think I'm really funny, I'm like, wow, I'm going to use that joke again. And then another city's like, no.
They use the same name as the
And it's
previous
just
city.
dead.
Yeah.
New York, and it's London. I was like,
Like it really depends on the crowd too. Like you can't predict these things. I think, but in that same way, I've done jokes and they've just not been funny, or like a crowd hasn't really been on my side, and so that's also something
most
that
of my sets all the time.
that I've like experienced. I'm not really scared of that happening because I'm like, if that happens, it'll be over. You know, in half an hour, 40 minutes when your set's done, and it's fine. You just do the next one, and then supports. Obviously, if you do support slots, often they're not on your side or not. Yeah, you have to win them over.
What you were saying about winning people over
Yeah.
is a fun kind of game.
I get way
It's a
more
challenge.
nervous for a headline show now because people have like given up their
They
evening.
know what to expect as well.
Yeah, and then if I don't deliver, they're like, well, it should sound like that.
Yeah, that's
Whereas
what I
when you're a
wanted to
support act, like you just, it's fair game.
It's a
You
free crowd.
yeah.
Yeah,
And it's
true.
fun, and I love walking out and everyone's just sort of like looking at their phone and chatting to their friend. Like, should we go to the bar, and then trying to like, you know, sing a note or like say something, and then they're like, oh.
Do you have like a bit of a tactic to kind of grab a crowd's attention, or
Yeah, just get butt naked.
yeah, that would work.
Thanks.
for you? I mean, not for me necessarily. I think the silence would be quick and fast, but not necessarily.
Shut up, not
goodness
true.
me.
No, actually, Royal Albert Hall, I was really excited about it because I've always loved that venue, but I was also obviously nervous. But then
What's the capacity there? I can't know.
like 5,000 people.
Jeez, okay.
Wow.
The first 30 seconds I did completely a cappella. So I walked out and they'd had like music on or whatever and people chatting, whatever. And then it just went silent. It was just me and I went, oh, if I'm honest. And
I
everyone went,
love that though. I mean, and I just love like you just going, yeah, I'm just going to do that. Like that's a huge thing
It's a
to
palate
do.
cleanser as well.
I think I would have been more nervous to do that at a headline show though, because there's way more moving parts and things I'm worried about and things happen 5 minutes before you go on or whatever. So dunno.
Maybe. But also, I think people love you and will forgive anything that not that you'd ever do anything wrong. But
Thanks.
Oh, you guys.
I know. Sorry, I'll stop.
Talk about pre-show. So this kind of podcast concept is the idea because we're playing tonight at the Clock Tower this evening. This is like kind of the backstage pass to pre-show rituals. Do you have any weird? I mean, we've all seen each other pre-show
Yeah.
at some point. You're both really weird, actually.
I am.
Yeah.
I'm just weird all the time.
You
It's
are
weird
weird
all
all
the
the
time.
time.
I guess the kind of classic warm-ups, taking myself off somewhere on my own a bit because I get so drawn into all the excitement that I will just talk and talk and talk and talk and talk. So if anyone's in the backstage, I'll just be like,
You can tire your voice out.
and I'll just tire my voice out. So I have to warm up and like physically remove myself from the excitement, and then I can join in with that after. But I have to remove myself because I will be too
we
excited.
played together at London Fashion Week for the Richard Quinn show. Richard Quinn's a big fan of yours. And I remember that being just the most hectic energy I've ever experienced. Like, people shouting at me, and I had nothing. Like I was playing piano for you.
That's
I
fashion,
know.
darling.
Honestly,
It really
I remember
is,
shouting back at
and
this woman, being, "Why are you shouting at me?"
I'm not made for the fashion
But I
world.
remember there was like this moment where you're just like, "I need to just,
I just need to go
I need
now.
to go."
Yeah.
Even like 10 minutes, on your own is just makes such an
Recalibrate.
impact. Yeah. And then you almost like then start the show as a different person. Like not entirely, but like I definitely have a kind of Hannah Grace and then a me. And I think that's really important because then that helps with anything. So if someone's like, I hate that girl's music, I'm like, oh, they just really don't like Hannah Grace. You know, I'm like, they don't know me.
That's such a shame for Hannah Grace.
That's such a shame for her. She really just needs to write more songs. No,
so yours is taking a moment. Yours is like grounding yourself.
Yeah.
Bit of a warm up.
Warm up and time.
Warm up and time.
I have to brush my teeth.
I was thinking of this the other day. A lot of people brush their teeth before a show.
Well, because by the time you get to stage time, it's what, like 9 p.m. ish. I eat a lot, and I've eaten so much shit during the day. I just feel like I need to start fresh. Yeah. And then when I walk out and it's minty fresh, and I'm breathing on the microphone.
It's like because I'll put aftershave on our.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, same.
But who's it for? Because no one's smelling you from the audience usually.
True. Yeah, but that's
for
you.
This
Isn't
environment,
that lovely that you're doing that for yourself?
Fresh for you.
It is fresh for you.
But I'm similar to Han. I love a bit of silence. Like I'll actively remove myself. And I had a show a couple of years ago where the support act was this lovely guy. He shall remain nameless, but it was just being so loud and talkative. And so I just put
the tea.
He was called Scott Quinn. No, I put a podcast on. And I just lay on the floor and just drowned him out, and it was great. Because otherwise, I get a bit het up, and obviously, I'm grateful that he's there, and I don't want to be rude, but also I just need some time to just like get into my space. Whereas afterwards, I'm like chatting Kathy and have a great time. So yeah,
it's interesting. I find there's a real balance as well with the pre-show, also post-show. If you're on tour, because we're both toured. Well, all three of us have toured quite a bit. Straining my voice after show. So I like meeting people come to the show. I love doing the merch table thing. But I don't know if I talk wrong or what. But even now, my voice is like,
and it's actually hard. I think like if I was doing like loads and loads and loads of shows, I'd have to really think if I was going to actually meet people after, just for like health reasons and like my voice. I remember on one of the tours I did like a year or so ago, the first show was in Glasgow, and someone chatted to me after, and they were really lovely. They bought loads of merch and stuff, but they were very close to my face, and I was like, okay, this personal space, but you know, fine, like you're enthusiastic. And then they like messaged me a week later being like, I have COVID. And I was actually like, in my head, I was like, you 100% spat in my eyeball. Like, you know, like if you had
I loved it.
I was like, wow, that would have just been it, you know? And obviously like I managed to miss it, and it wasn't like weeks and weeks long tour. But like, it's crazy, you know?
The pressure to be well.
I've been thinking about this a lot actually recently, because I'm the same as you. Like I love meeting people afterwards, and that's when you get to really like hear people's stories and connect with people and stuff. And I'm lucky I haven't had like a 14 show back-to-back tour where suddenly you have no nights off, and if you get sick, you're fucked. Can I swear?
See you later.
You're fucked. But I got sick at the end of this tour, and I knew it was coming. And then I had 2 shows at the end of it where I was already run down, and I was like, I'm probably going to get sick. And then was meeting people afterwards, and obviously everyone just has a cough or a cold every now and then. But then I didn't get better. It's been like 2 months now where I've just been like sick, and that's
mentally. I think it's more damning than physically. I mean, I think it's a real mess. If your voice is your instrument, is your career
and your passion, and like
your passion, and you miss it. Yeah, you do miss it.
But so I've been thinking about future stuff. I'm like, I don't want to not be able to see people, but how do you do it in a way that feels like healthy and safe, but also is fun for everyone? Yeah. And I don't have the answer. But
I've heard that some people I know who go on intensive tours do like the B12 shot before they go. There's like ashwagandha, whatever it's called. It's like a herbal supplement people have taken weeks before, and it kind of like sets up their immune system and whatever. Do you two keep yourself in kind of good nick leading up to tours, shows?
Yeah, I wouldn't be drinking much alcohol on the show days. All the kind
you're
of
drunk every day
stuff.
usually.
Yeah, usually.
She's drunk right now. You can tell.
It's a miracle you turned off, actually.
I know, literally. No, I guess I am. I've always been quite nerdy and healthy, to be honest.
Like, it's not nerdy though. It's self-care.
Yeah, but I guess
love yourself.
It can be seen as boring if you're like not drinking after the show or going out or like.
I just don't know how people do it. I've been on support on tours where the bands like get wasted every night and sing like an angel the next night.
My old guitarist, lovely guy, but he once said to me like, "Oh, when you're on tour, just make sure you enjoy it. Like, go out, drink, blah blah." blah. I was like, "I think you're missing the point. Like, my favorite part is the show. I go out between tours, and like I love like going out with friends and stuff. But if I've got a show the next day, I'm not going to enjoy the show, and then I'm going to be sad about that. So why would
Professional.
Literally.
You see, that's...
I know. But I think we're
not
also...
drunk right now.
We're also at the point where we like rely on it in some way. Like, so it like would be really not sensible of us to not take care of ourselves.
I think also because we have all been and are independent artists.
Yes.
Yeah. So we're kind of doing this thing.
Yeah.
And if we mess up,
Buck
it's kind
stops
of...
with us.
Yeah. There's no kind of like big label picking up the
No.
tab.
Yeah, that's the other thing
Yeah.
that I was thinking about the whole touring thing is as the tours like sort of get a little bigger and longer and stuff, like if I got sick halfway through a tour and then had to cancel shows,
That's a big
still have to
deal.
pay the band, still have to pay the venue,
Yeah.
you're not selling merch, you're not getting the ticket, like then it becomes a real issue. So I was really lucky that I got sick at the end of the tour and then was sad for a couple of months, but like it's fine.
Yeah.
Whereas if that had happened 2 weeks before,
It could have been worse, kind of thing, if you're really thinking about it in that way. Yeah, for sure.
And have you both toured Europe quite a lot outside the UK?
Yeah, like not as much as you guys, but I've been to like Berlin, Paris, Netherlands, like
Nice.
kind of it really.
And how do you? I'm always intrigued to hear how people get on with the language barrier. You
Yeah.
were saying earlier about some jokes land in one city, not the other.
I definitely avoid jokes. I think
in general, I'm just not funny
just
in
in general,
Europe.
to be honest, I say jokes as if I'm like this stand-up. It's completely accidentally happened. I think people were laughing at me and I wasn't trying to be funny, and now people have like given me this pressure, like, you're really funny, and I'm like, oh, maybe I should do it more. And now it's this thing.
Too much, yeah, it's the
And
whole
I'm like,
thing.
oh no, I didn't ever meant for it to be like that. I think I was in Paris and I had all these like intentions of speaking loads of, I learned all these
oui, oui,
phrases
bonjour.
and like, you know, like this next song is about home and all these things. And then I got there and I was like, bonjour. I didn't say it because I was like, what if I say it wrong? So I just spoke in English, and yeah, I think I have played it very safe when I've been, and I obviously Berlin, like, and all those European cities, so many people speak English. So I'm like, you know what?
It's incredible.
I'm gonna just
I feel so dumb.
yeah.
Just like,
it's just a
I
classic
try
thing.
and I get a few words out just to show that I care. But
Yeah.
really, I went out there.
A little does go a long way, I feel, but like it would be amazing to do a whole show like in the language
Yeah.
of the place.
Yeah, imagine.
What's your?
I have to remember to speak slower because I talk very fast.
Yes. I do
And then
as
obviously when you're singing, it's like note by note. So people where English isn't their first language, they can hear what you're saying. And you might sing a chorus 4 times and then they know the lyrics. But I have to remember between songs, not to be like, oh my God, thank you so much for coming up. It's so nice to be in Paris. This is a great night. Everybody, thank you so much for coming. I've got merch to the church.
Yeah, I don't actually know what you just said. so-
Yeah. That's
Oh my
good.
God, I'm the same. I speak so fast.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's drunk. It's fine.
Oh, Hannah.
No, I'm less of these drunk jokes. I'm a healthy gal.
So I didn't. You good? Sorry, apologies for the drunkenness.
She
on
was
the-
saying, give me a martini with her
Yeah,
eyes.
yeah.
There are some cocktails tonight, right?
There are cocktails.
Yeah.
Do we know what's
tonight.
in our cocktails?
So yes, this is brand new for this show tonight. So we have an amazing collaboration with the bar downstairs at the St Pancras Renaissance Hotel, Gothic bar.
Ooh.
So they're doing cocktails in the tower, and then we go down to the bar
Cocktails.
afterwards, and there are themed cocktails based on the artist performing. And we asked you to submit stories and answers to questions on the submission form thing. So you wrote a very wholesome kind of like
Yeah.
thing about. I can't remember what the question was. What was it? The kind of.
It was like, tell us a story that you associate with your favorite cocktail or something.
That's it.
Yeah.
You're kind of like summer nights with friends,
Some nights with friends.
supporting each other.
Sunny, summer, forget about your worries.
So beautiful.
Get that
And then
cocktail.
Ben, you said.
There was one time I was pretending to be a ram, and I was on a farm in Yorkshire, and it went so well that the ram thought I was like competition, so chased me down the mountain.
Oh my God.
Um,
What's this got to do with cocktail?
that was my story for the cocktail. They said, "Give us a story,
Oh.
and we'll make a cocktail based, like inspired by
I
your
thought it was to
cocktail."
do with cocktails. I'm pretty sure it was.
Honestly.
Probably.
Honestly.
I just
Wow.
took it on my own.
You really did. I was
Yeah.
waiting for when the cocktail was coming out.
So your cocktail
about-
has notes of ram.
Had you drunk lots of cocktails in the lead up to becoming a
No,
ram?
I was 11.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Complete left of field from Ben there, but
Yeah,
anyway,
that
it's going to
was-
be
that
What can I say? I'm an
entertaining.
artiste. Like to
Very
think outside
random.
the box.
We digress.
Yes.
If someone was starting out now, I mean, it's a really different time to when we started out. It's made to
Yeah.
sound ancient, but it really has shifted in the last 5 years alone.
87 years.
If they're like, Hannah, Ben, love you both. I think you're both great. I want to be a singer. I want to perform live. I want to tour Europe. What do they do? And they are good. Let's just preface it with
Okay.
they have a talent.
I feel like you're really good at giving advice.
Do you think?
Yeah.
Never shut up. You're just constantly.
Oh, my goodness.
Drink wine.
Back
sing.
in my day. it was-
Do you know what, actually? Because this is advice I would give my past self, is this idea that like when I get a manager, when I get funding, when I get this, then it's all going to work out, and then I'm going to have shows, and then and then the good things are going to happen. And so you base all of those things happening on these external things that you might not really have any control over. Whereas pretty much all the good things that have happened in my career have been down to me deciding they're going to happen. And that doesn't mean that it's not with a team, and that you don't, obviously that having those things doesn't help, but it's not like completely reliant on that. And I think some people are like, I have songs, and when I have a manager, I'm going to release an EP.
Yeah.
And when I do this, I'm going to do a show. And when I know people will come, I'm going to put a show on. I'm like, no, just book a room for 20 people and bring your mum and dad, you know? Like there's been shows where people have just fallen upon gigs before and people go and then they like you know, like it really is that kind of thing. It's like not waiting for things to happen.
Just get it done.
Just do it. And always like those people work for you.
Yeah.
Like, so even if you are lucky enough to have a huge team,
You need to lead the charge.
you can't be like, so what are we doing next? What song's going to be next? And who should I write with? And you have to lead everything, because otherwise you will be in positions where you're like, I don't even like this song.
Yeah.
Or I don't even like this artwork. And I've been in that position before. And it's also been my responsibility, and I haven't taken that responsibility. So I think that's a lot of advice, actually.
That's a good.
But that's what I would
great.
say.
That's great.
That's great.
I might take that.
I also
actually.
love it when you say stuff like, you are CEO of Hannah Grace, you're CEO of Scott Quinn,
Yeah.
I'm CEO of Benedict Cork. And at first it sounds a bit wanky, but that's
Just
like,
a bunch
it's
of
so
CEOs
true.
hanging out in a
I know.
tower. Do you know what I mean? We are
Just
elite
FTSE
right
100 pros just here. But it's so true. It's like the buck stops with us and we are in charge. And so obviously you want to take on board advice and be challenged by people and stuff. But really, as an independent artist,
You're the
that's
navigator of your own success
And that's
there.
really exciting in a way. And
Yeah.
then when you start thinking of that, you start being a bit more business minded about stuff and a bit more like strategic in a really healthy way, I think.
Yeah.
The other thing I would say is you have to love it, because there is a lot of shit and you have to
Don't do it for the
wade
money.
through. No,
Oh my
Yeah,
God.
no, yeah.
I remember,
That's a great.
so loads of people are giving me that advice. They're like, don't do it for the money, because
It sounds cliche as well, because it sounds like you've been like, do it for the love. But you have to.
you literally have to enjoy it. Otherwise, you'll be like, you could just go get another job that would actually give you money, and then you can still sing and you can still write songs. Whereas because that's the thing, you can be an artist and it doesn't have to be a full-time thing. There's so much, talk about like what makes you an artist and what makes you doesn't. You can have like a full-time job and be an artist, but like if you want the artist to be your main thing, those priorities need to be right, because otherwise you will just be disappointed and you'll start doing things for the money and then it won't become fulfilling and you'll end up in a big pickle. I don't know. I think, and also that thing of like not waiting for other people to do it. Like I've heard stories of really huge artists on major labels like Ed Sheeran's and Taylor Swift's. Like look at Taylor Swift. Like she's leading that.
Yeah.
There's no one going, this is your next single. Like it's all her.
Yeah.
At any level, it's always you.
Yeah.
And I think like that's the main thing. And obviously then finding the right people that lift you up to make those decisions. Because of course you need help. Like take help as well. But like it's you that's the face of it and it's in charge.
Do either of you
so.
have any regrets of making your passion your work?
No,
I love it.
zero.
People say like,
To be fair, as I said that, I'd be like, this would be really sad if one of you were just like,
yeah,
I'm actually really
It's
in
like
love
a
with
last
retirement
gig.
video. No, I when people say like, I haven't worked a day in my life. I
Yeah.
work really hard, but
Yeah.
I don't feel like I've
Oh, it's
worked
exhausting,
at all.
but it's not like,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
100%.
And then obviously that's such a privilege as well. Like I'm so, and that's why I really try not complain about it too much. Like we talk about it as fellow musicians and we can talk about
That's
issues that we're going
quite,
through.
quite cathartic when we all get together to have a sing song, but also just to moan about industry in
It's a
general.
massive bitch.
Yeah, because it's just all very similar kind of journeys and areas that we're in.
But I think that's healthy. Whereas I also appreciate how lucky I am to be a singer. I've been like singing for like 15 years now, and like that's so cool. So I don't want to be like, oh, it's so hard
It's
being
so
a
hard,
creative. Oh my god, I've got to write a song today. Do you know what I mean? Like I want to also
know.
appreciate how lucky we are.
Yeah,
But
definitely.
the final question I usually ask is, what's your why? And what I mean by that is, why do this at all? Why, if it is hard, bother? What makes you keep going in the face of adversity?
Wow.
Because it's a tough old slog to get wherever you want to be. So what's your why?
Oh my goodness. Why not?
So Ben, what's your... I mean,
that's
fair enough.
was
Nothing
it.
else to do.
No, it is. The joke is, what else would I do?
Yeah.
But that's also not the joke. Like, it's real. Because I'm kind of like,
So
what
you're
else would I do?
Just in your DNA.
Something else would be as hard and not as rewarding. I don't think any job's like easy. And every job has its struggles, including this one. So I might as well it's like you might as well fail at something you love, you know? It sounds so
Preach.
cliche,
No,
but it's true.
No, it's so true.
What about you, Ben?
Similar. Can't really do anything else.
Yeah.
Have no other skills. Didn't go to university. Have no qualifications. But also, like when I step away from it, like I've just had a bit of time off. I really miss it, and then it shows how much I really
Despite
love it.
everything. That's
Yeah.
what I think, yeah. If you're
Yeah.
missing a job that really puts you through the middle,
Yeah, like 2 months ago, I was completely burnt out.
Yeah.
And now I've had like a couple of months just to like decompress and recalibrate and everything. And now like itching to get going again. And that shows to me that I really love it.
Yeah. Amazing. Well, please don't ever quit, either of you. You're too good.
I'll try not to.
Amazing. I'm looking forward to tonight. It's going to be good.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me.
Actually, just a quick one. Do you like performing to smaller crowds or bigger crowds? Because this one's like, so 50 people in here is quite cozy.
I think overall, yes. I prefer smaller ones.
Really?
I think both for different reasons.
They are
But
very
I'm
different
really
beasts.
excited for tonight, and like it's nice to do like new songs, and the chat can sometimes be more easygoing than if you're like talking at 5,000 people.
Yeah.
But pros and cons to both.
Yeah. You're like,
I think.
well, now you don't
I think as
a
an
hall.
I know. Take me back.
no going back.
Yeah.
No, I think as an audience member, I love smaller shows. Like this will be really special. We've only done this once before, really, as a trio, and that feels really like magical. But as a performer, this is also scarier because you can see into the like whites of people's eyes and
You can
stuff.
hear people breathing in here. It's that
Yeah.
quiet.
Some
Or if they
people
like
breathe
check
really
their
heavy.
phone and you're like,
Yeah.
Oh,
All you need is one
that's-
person to do that. Or like, I had one in the same venue we did our first sexy singers gig in, and someone fell asleep. And
Oh
I
my
called him
goodness.
out, and he didn't like it, and then it was just really awkward.
Because you woke him up.
I really just take everything to heart, you know?
Yeah.
So if someone is that bored, I'm like, I failed. Even if everyone else like is having a good time.
Oh, yeah, the one will completely outweigh
I
100
know.
others. Well, hopefully no one will fall asleep and they'll check their phones tonight.
I might fall asleep.
Yeah, you have to confiscate them all.
Well, thanks so much. Can't wait for tonight. We're now going to leave with a nice awkward wave at this camera.
Oh, wow. Oh, goodbye.
And this one.
Oh, I went to the wrong one
I
first.
went to the
Sorry.
wrong
And this
one. Oh, that one.
Okay.
And
goodbye.
this one. Okay,
Bye.
bye.